What's good? It's Woog. Yeah. Disappointing news on the boxing calendar. This is probably the most disappointing fight-related news in boxing for the year of 2021. It's just extremely disappointing. We were so close to getting Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence Jr. We were getting an all-time legend against one of the two, in my opinion, one of the two best fighters pound for pound in the sport. You could say top three. You could, personal rankings vary. Clearly one of the best fighters in the sport was about to take on the legend, who was basically taking on arguably his most dangerous assignment to date. He's fought them all too. Manny Pacquiao's fought them all, from the Miguel Cottos to old Oscar De La Hoya, old Shane Mosley, Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barrera, Antonio Margarito, Keith Thurman, you name it. And this was arguably the most holy crap, this fight's really about to happen fight in Manny Pacquiao's career. Just because at 42, nobody was thinking that this was going to be the assignment that he was going to take on. We thought maybe Mikey Garcia, yeah, that would be a good matchup. That makes sense given where Manny Pacquiao should be in his career and where Mikey Garcia is weight-wise and kind of the compromise it would just work out. It sounded like it made more sense in the twilight of Pacquiao's career, but no. He basically went for the biggest fish in the pond. Errol Spence Jr., undefeated WBC IBF welterweight champion. And we were so close to getting that fight, and Errol Spence had to pull out of the Manny Pacquiao dream fight due to a torn retina in his eye. That is heartbreaking. Sports news. So Errol Spence is going to be replaced with Yordenis Ugas, the current WBA champ. He was a lesser WBA title holder and was, eventually elevated to actual WBA official super title holder, which it was just due to Manny Pacquiao's inactivity. But when you chart Ugas's, path to the title, it's not one that says, yeah, that's the credential of a champion. It's not that. And that's to take nothing away from Ugas's abilities. I thought he deserved a decision win against Sean Porter. Super close fight. You could say that, okay, a draw would have been in order. Sean Porter won a very close decision win over Ugas, but I thought Ugas, at least for the first several rounds, was winning the majority of those rounds. I thought it became more even as the fight went on, and Porter certainly had his moments. When does he not have a fight where he has his moments? But Ugas is not Errol Spence. Oh boy. Oh man, yeah. You know what? I mean, what would the silver lining be? Okay, from we wanted to see the best fight possible, like we were just about to get standpoint. If Manny Pacquiao, say, beats Ugas and he beats him decisively, look, if they were to have announced Manny Pacquiao versus Ugas before there was ever a Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence ever announced, like when they were still discussing, is he going to fight Conor? No. Is he going to fight Mikey Garcia, Terrence Crawford? Like when they were having those discussions, if it ended up falling on Manny Pacquiao versus Ugas, I think it would have been like a head scratcher, like when he fought Algieri or Brandon Rios, even though the Brandon Rios was a comeback fight off of the devastating knockout loss to Marquez in their fourth fight. But, there were a couple other head scratchers. Jesse Vargas, where it's not like a non-quality opponent, but it's not anybody who you just get fired up to see. So if they were to just out of the blue, when Manny Pacquiao was just inactive for a year and a half after fighting Keith Thurman, if they were to say Manny Pacquiao versus Ugas, it would have been like, okay, I wonder how he's going to do. Ugas might give him like a Jeff Horn type of problem. And matchups-wise, I'm going to do a preview video. Oh my God. Just the thought of like having to do the preview now for Manny Pacquiao versus Ugas as opposed to Manny Pacquiao versus Spence. It's not as easy to just get fired up, but it is a credible, very credible opponent, tough welterweight, but man, we were so close to getting on paper the best fight that we've had in a few years. Seriously, like it's a short list of fights that would matter as much as Manny Pacquiao, 42-year-old Manny Pacquiao versus prime. We think still prime Errol Spence, coming off of back-to-back wins against Sean Porter and Danny Garcia. And it was Mikey Garcia before Sean Porter, and it was the devastating car accident that he's lucky to be alive from between the Sean Porter and the Danny Garcia fights. This was monumental, almost to where, like, when you thought about the fight, you almost thought it was too good to be true. Oh man. Yeah, the boxing world, we just took this one to the chin today. You know, as far as the actual injury, at first, you know, when you think torn retina, you know, you think Sugar Ray Leonard and different, who had a detached retina. And I have to look a little further into whether there's any distinction between the two. But it sounds like a very serious injury. I mean, to regular people, it would be a serious injury. To boxers, their risk tolerance is a lot greater. They have things that happen and they continue their careers that average people would be going on workers' comp for. So a torn retina, of course, that's a very concerning injury, and it sounds like he's expected to make a full recovery. I hope that that's an authentic, genuine statement with, you know, medical backing. I pray that that is the case. You know, this is two devastating things that happened to Errol Spence within the last, like, year and a half. So, of course, there's a part of me that's thinking, okay, like, not because of wear and tear in the ring per se. I mean, Errol Spence has never lost, hasn't taken a ton of damage comparatively. You know, he's usually dishing out the ass whoopings, not receiving them. He has had a couple tough fights, but he's been doing about as well as you could do as a boxer in the professional ranks. But, you know, with these other styles of injuries, you just wonder how much of the fighter mentality is going to persist to where you are willing to continue living that lifestyle of a fighter without factoring in what type of damage am I accumulating over the years. You know, he's just turning the corner of his 30s, so he's still early 30s, not mid 30s. Terrence Crawford's about to be in his mid 30s. I would hate for him to reach 35 before they get any Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford fight together. That would just be a travesty. If Terrence Crawford's 35 by the time they hook that fight up, oh man, boxing missed an opportunity. But man, boxing just missed an opportunity with this injury. And I hope he makes a full recovery. I hope that in time I get more and more warmed up to the idea and excited about Manny Pacquiao versus Ugas. But whew, I'm just not feeling it right now. Again, quality fight, but we were about to get, at least on paper, one of the greatest fights that could be made of the era. So, damn. We will take another look at this. Let me know what you think about Pacquiao versus Ugas. Let me know what you think about the likelihood that they reschedule Pacquiao versus Spence on the heels of Pacquiao versus Ugas. And I just really hope that somehow we're able to catch lightning in a bottle again in scheduling this one, and that it's not too late. And hey, anything could happen in this case. Like, what if Ugas scores a close decision win over Pacquiao? Then that obviously takes a lot of the air out of Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence. It matters that Manny Pacquiao's on this recent winning streak. So, oh gosh. I just hope we get something amazing in terms of matchups. I mean, they still haven't made the Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter. I'm just, oh man, this is a tough one. You guys, leave your comments in the comments, please. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are into the fight talk. And I will drop a preview for Manny Pacquiao versus Yordenis Ugas, who's going to have the opportunity of a lifetime right in front of him. So, you know, I feel really happy for him in that regard. I mean, they had been teasing him versus Errol Spence for some time. I'm glad that something great is coming his way. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for tuning in.